Welcome back. In this video, we're going to take a look at the goals page as well as the thoughts page here in the Gospel Living app. In the goals page, you'll see we have two plus signs to choose from. Both of these will get you to the same place if you're wanting to create a new goal. And you'll also notice this awesome section in the middle here. It highlights the 4 main areas of growth that we work towards in the Children and Youth program, and it'll give you a count of how many goals you have in each of those areas. And then down here at the bottom of the screen, we have the upcoming section, where any reminders that you set for yourself or ongoing goals can be seen in a list here. We'll get some added here in just a second. And there's also an important call out of this little today button. I like to have mine set to the next 30 days. That way anything that you have as a goal for the upcoming month can be looked at instead of just that day. But do what you want to do. So let's get this list going and add ourselves a goal. We'll start by clicking the little circle plus button. And let's say that I have a goal to get more involved in missionary work. And so one of the steps I want to take towards that is fasting. Maybe I'll set a goal and I'll name it missionary fast. There we go. And I can select the areas of growth that I think this is most closely related to. So I'll click spiritual. I can assign a date to it. So let's say I'm going to try to fast this coming Sunday. Week after Fast Sunday, but oh well. And I can also set a reminder here. This is awesome. I can make a custom message for myself, so I can say, hey, time to start fasting. And as long as I have my notifications enabled on my phone for the app, then it'll alert me at whatever day and time I choose. So let's say I'm going to say Saturday at 5 p.m. I want to be reminded that it's time to start fasting. That's all set up. And then down below that area, there's a section for details. Where I can make any other notes that I want to kind of specify either the purpose of the goal or steps that I want to take as a part of it. Just kind of an area to write whatever other thoughts you have. So for this, I'll put fasting for missionary opportunities and pray to know how I can support my local missionaries. So once we have our details input to help us keep our focus in mind, we also have an option at the bottom where we can add a photo. This is important to note because anytime we see add a photo as an option in the Gospel Living app, we can either choose a photo from our camera roll already, or we can take a picture with our camera right then and there. But we won't add one now. Let's just save this goal. And you can see my count for the spiritual goals has already been updated from 4 to 5. And let's say as I'm looking at this, I start to realize that maybe I need to add some goals in other areas. I've got my reminders down here at the bottom now for my fasting goal, but let's say I want to add something else in one of the other areas. If I want to do that, we'll go ahead and start adding another goal. We'll use the other plus sign this time. It's doing the same thing though. Let's say this time I want to have a goal to go on daily walks, and this is going to be a physical goal. So maybe I want to do this for a week, and the day that I want to say I've accomplished this by is next Friday. So if I want to be really specific, I can say I want to go on a 1-mile walk every day next week. Kind of goes back to the whole SMART goals methodology, want to be specific and measurable. So we can also add steps for completing our goal. Let's say I feel like this is going to be a huge mountain to climb and I want to break it into smaller pieces. I can remind myself to set my sneakers by the door on Monday for my first day of running, so that it's, not running, walking. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. But I can remind myself to set the sneakers by the door so that that's one less thing to worry about. And same as before, as long as I have my notifications enabled, it'll remind me of that step if I choose to, select to do the reminder. By default, it'll say none, but you can select it as whatever you want. I'll do another reminder or step in the process to fill up my water bottle. Let's save on that one. So now you can see the main goal is daily walks, and then I have 2 steps beneath it. We've added our area of growth as physical, a deadline that we want to reach, and we have the options still at the bottom for adding a photo if we want. Maybe you want to take a picture every day after you've walked or something, I don't know. So now my physical count is updated to 1. I have my reminders in the upcoming list below, and everything looks good to go. Now in the last video, we took a look at the Discover feed, and I pointed out how there's an option to set goals from within different types of content. So let's take a look at a example from the Come Follow Me snippets. A lot of these end with these little gray boxes at the bottom. It has like a challenge or an invitation, and it's already preset to be a goal that you can set. So it has the title filled in, it has details already filled in that is taken from the article that you were reading, and you can just save it from right there. Or it'll probably prompt you to select some other things, like what area of growth do you want to call this as being a part of. You can update the deadline if you want, all the different things that you might want to select. So we'll go ahead and save this one. And we have a little check mark. If we go here, let's see, I marked that one as intellectual for the memorization aspect. So now it's showing up in the memorization list. So all's good there. Let's see. We also have a list for each of the 4 areas, and you can toggle between the active goals and the completed goals. So going back to the discovery menu, we can navigate to another type of content that maybe doesn't have a pre-made goal for you at the bottom. For example, let's take this cool infographic here that has a quote from Elder Anderson. Now, just because it doesn't have a goal button at the bottom doesn't mean you can't set a goal around it. If we click on the little book symbol with the plus sign at the top, we can select create a new goal. And just like we did from the first 2 examples, we just start from scratch and type in whatever we want to help us remember what we want to keep in mind for our goal. We can add a photo, we can add details, set a deadline, add areas of growth, anything that we want to do to help keep our focus straight. So let's say that after reading this from Elder Anderson, I want to be a peacemaker. I'll add an area of growth. We'll call it social this time, just to even out our counts for demonstration purposes. And we'll hit save, navigate back to my goals menu, and you'll see my social list updated. So it's also cool how it has this little link here. Even if the content that you access didn't have a preset goal button in it, anytime that you click the book plus sign button, it'll automatically include that little link in your entry. So we've got everything we need on my goals page. Now let's take a look at the thoughts. You'll notice it's kind of a similar setup here. At the top we have options to create something new from scratch. We have our collections options where you can create different folders and group things by different topics. Back up to the top you have the option of either creating like from scratch, just type out whatever your heart desires. And you can even change the day or time for it. If you want to write about a meeting you were in on Sunday, and you can change the date for it to reflect that day. We also have the option of adding photos. Maybe you saw something inspirational and you wanted to take a picture and then make comments on it. You can do that. And there's also these really cool prompts below. Things like, today I'm grateful for, or I really enjoyed, ... Remind me to, or this goal has been, all great things. Let's do, for example, today I'm grateful for, and we'll type in, today I'm grateful for raindrops and baby snuggles. Really optimistic here. And we'll add an emoji just for giggles, and we'll give this thought a title. We'll call it gratitude, and we'll hit save. So you'll see my number for all has updated from 7 to 8, and I can add or remove some of the categories here for the different folders, or you can add a new one, and we'll hit done there. So if I go to my all menu, I can look at all the different notes I've taken, and of course the one we just added is up at the top there. So if we want to add a new collection, we can just give it whatever kind of name we want. Maybe if we decide to start a gratitude journal, we could call the folder gratitude and add a new one similar to what we just did every day. So going back to the Discover menu, we can navigate to any type of content we want, and similar to goals, we have the option of creating a thought. So let's say you're reading and you have something come to your mind and you want to make sure you have it captured and recorded. No matter where you're at or where you're reading from, you can always navigate to the icon up at the top right where we have the book with the plus sign, and we can click capture your thoughts. Same kind of deal, you can have a title to it and any kind of things that you want to type out, And similar to what we saw in the goals options earlier, you always have that really cool link that's already embedded in there. So anytime you come back to that thought, it'll automatically be there for you to reference and go back to what you were reading at the time that you had those thoughts. Pretty cool. Now, the last feature that's really worth mentioning in the thoughts section is this awesome little search bar at the top. Let's say that after a while you've added a lot of different entries over time and you want to go back to something. We'll search rain this time because we know that's in something that we just typed up. And of course, one of the first things that pops up in the search results is the note that we just wrote. So anytime that you have a thought come to mind or a topic you want to kind of reflect on, you can just search it from the search bar and bring up any past entries that relate to it. So now that we understand a bit more about the goals and the thoughts sections, we can jump into circles.